Hi guys. So about 20 years ago or so, I was playing with one of my first proper gigging bands, and we had a bit of local success and a bit of a local following before all going our separate ways. But there's one song that from that era that I've always been kind of quite pleased with the bass line that I came up with for. And it kind of really adequately demonstrates a lot of the principles that I've been going through in this video. So I thought I'd resurrect it for you for this video. Now, the song itself, and there'll be a link in the description below, is a silly song called Little Piece of Chicken. You can listen for yourself, enjoy. It's got, some of the well, I don't know if to call them the worst solos ever, but certainly the most silly solos ever, which I'll show you mine shortly. But hopefully you'll enjoy the track anyway. But I've always been kind of pleased with the track and enjoyed listening back to it and remembering those times. Some of the eagle-eyed of you will look into some of my other videos and might recognize the lead singer, but we're not covering his stuff today, so we'll stick to just this one. Now, the track itself has a really simple chord structure. In the verse, we're just playing A, E, D, E, and back to A again. And then the chorus, which I was playing in the intro, is just A, E, and stay on the D. And that's it. So there was nothing particularly complex going on with the chord structure, but around that sort of time I was starting to experiment with the sort of wider expanded major scale shape that I've gone through in some of my other videos, and was really kind of came up with this walking bass line that just worked really well, and it's always kind of stuck in my mind as something that's sort of flowed quite naturally. So the bass line for the verse in full is this: 2, 3, 4. Now, I have since worked out that there's a more ergonomic way to play it than that in one position, which would be this. That does kind of feel a bit weird to me because I always played it in the more expanded way. So I'll probably stick with that one, but then just to make note that there is a sort of probably more efficient, better way to do it. So I just want to sort of break this down a little bit about what my thinking behind it was. And I don't know if I really sort of thought this much in depth about it when I came up with the parts, but it's kind of interesting to look back on and see what I was actually coming up with there. So over the chords of the verse, over the A, what I'm playing there, over an A chord is A, E, octave A, E. So that's the root, the fifth, the octave, and the fifth. That's pretty simple. But then nicely where the chord structure goes, the E is the next chord in the structure. So the fifth of the first chord becomes the root of the second chord. Over the E, I go E, G sharp, A, B. So that would be the root, third, fourth, fifth. And then we go to the D chord, and what I'm playing there is F sharp, E, D, C sharp. So that would be the third, second, the root of the chord, and then the seventh of the chord. And then finally over the last E, I'm playing B, C sharp, D, E. So that would be the fifth, the sixth, the dominant seventh, putting the fifth chord, it has a flat seventh, so dominant seventh, and the E, which is the root. And then the E, nicely being the fifth of the original A chord, leads me back to the A. So it just really flowed really well, and like I said, I don't know how much I thought about all this stuff when I was actually coming up with it, but I've always been quite sort of pleased with how it worked out. So that's the main bass line of it. Just for completeness, for the chorus, all I'm really playing there are the root notes of the chords, but with a few dead notes thrown in. So it'd be, and that became really simple, and it allowed us to jump around the stage a lot and do crazy stuff that I don't do quite as much as when I was a teenager. um, so the just to finish this off, the solo section of the song, um, we were playing around a time where everyone was trying to do a lot of fancy solos and outdo each other on that. So for this song, we just decided that we were each going to do a solo spot. We were going to come up with the most stupid, pointless solos that we possibly could. And for my part, and it's quite nice that I've got the fretless out for this one because it was originally played on a fretless for the recording. I played, went up the octave and just played, the solos were over an A, so I just played a high A, an E, and another A, but with a little fretless slide up to them, so it just became this little sort of fart for each note that was something like this. And that was my solo. Probably my first bass solo on recording, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, that's not really the part I'm so proud about, but I still kind of find it quite amusing to listen back to. So that's really it. That's the sort of breakdown of the song. It's probably the silliest song I've ever played on, but I still love it, and hopefully you do too. So have a listen. That's the bass line for it. If you want to learn it, then go ahead, please do. But just as a sort of principle, sort of an example of the principles I've been going over to, it works really well, and I'm still pretty proud of it.